the mic working? Good deal. Looks like everybody's here. Let's see, Commissioner Smith will not be here today. He contacted me earlier, so first thing is, it is April 14th at 3 p.m., and I would like to call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Due to the Governor Lou Ann Grisham's order limiting the number of attendees at gatherings, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting has a limited attendance right now. The public is invited to view the meeting on Suddenlink Channel 10, cityofclovis.org, Facebook at the City of Clovis, New Mexico City Government, and you can call in any questions to 763-9200, and those questions will be shared with the commission. First item on the agenda is roll call. Will the clerk please call roll?
Chairman North,
Here.
Vice Chairman Morrison,
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Sol,
Here.
Commissioner Garza,
Here.
Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Klein.
Here.
Good deal. Everybody's here. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting from February 10th, 2021. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the old minutes have passed. And now, Mr. Rodney Roach would like to make an introduction real quickly.
I believe you skipped the approval of the agenda.
I'll get into that 1 second, right after this introduction. But I'm sure I would have missed it, absolutely.
Commissioner, Commissioner, and Commissioners. I'd like to introduce Les Joncho. He is our new zoning administrator. He's worked for the city for about 1.5 years. He came from the code enforcement division of our department. He's been doing this for about 2 months-ish. So he's been doing really well. I'd just like to introduce Les and kind of go from there.
Welcome, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We try to take it easy on you today.
Thank you.
First time.
I appreciate that.
Welcome.
Perfect. And now, so yes, we would like to, I'd like to move to approve the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has passed. And now we'll go on to any old business, which I don't see any old business, so we'll move on to new business right away. First thing on new business is the approval of preliminary plat of the Olive Branch subdivision, a subdivision with the arbitrarily lots 1 and 2. And I will go to staff for any comment or recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner. As of right now, this is zoned currently residential single family. So the next portion of the agenda, we're going to do a zone change to get it zone changed to residential single family 7,000 square foot lots instead of the residential single family 7. But as far as the preliminary plat goes, it meets the request of the city's Unified Development Ordinance. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan. All affected areas were notified with zero amount of protest, and there will be no health, safety, or welfare to the public. And so with that, we'll stand with any questions, and Mr. Leidick is here to do a presentation on this also.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Leidick, if I can have you please raise your right hand, we'll swear you in real quick. Do you swear or affirm that any testimony that you give will be truthful, Mr. Leidick? I do. Perfect. Thank you, sir. You can go ahead, and then the commissioners can ask any questions after you get done. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I tell you, the last time I addressed this group, this is so much better. I appreciate you accommodating us with an in-person meeting, because it's difficult to talk about something where you're having to look at a plat and go back and forth and yet get something accomplished. So I appreciate your your help on this. If you don't mind, I'll be brief, but this is a quite large development, and I'd like to just kind of hit on a couple of high points to where if you're asked questions about it or where I want you to fully understand it. But this is a 109-acre subdivision, and it's located in the southeast quarter of Section 33, Township 3 North, Range 36 East. And a way to better locate that for you, the bottommost east to west running road there is Llano Estacado Boulevard, and the one on the east side that's running north-south is Humphrey Road. This area has been dormant for a long period of time, but development's moving in that direction, and the landowners felt like it was time to plat it, and I totally agree. So this large subdivision, as you can see, is going to feature several different aspects of lot size. I heard Mr. Wilt say that the minimum lot size for this particular zoning is 7,000 square feet. But in this particular subdivision, the smallest lot is probably going to be closer to 8,300 square feet, and the largest lot will be about 3.5 acres. So it's going to be able to appeal to a varied group of buyers, different types of homes, and I think it'll be a welcome addition. In the total subdivision, there's 177 lots, and it's 1.69 lots per acre, which is a relatively low density. As a comparison, say a normal like in Raintree, they're probably closer to 3 to 3.5 lots per acre. So you can see this is going to be quite a bit less dense. As it was stated, it is compatible with the comprehensive plan. There are open spaces also platted within this subdivision that the developer is not planning any residential development in, and those areas could possibly develop into park areas and various things as we go along. If you'll notice in the southeast corner there, a large vacant tract that's owned by the city of Clovis, if I might. Down here, it's labeled Flood Zone A, and that's about a 22-acre or larger, I guess, a little larger flood basin that's being used by the city of Clovis. And then there you can see there's a proposed drainage channel that will go from the northwest through this subdivision to connect with another upstream drainage basin that the city of Clovis also controls. So any runoff that is developed within this subdivision, we're going to do lot by lot retention, which we've done and are really effective. And what that means is we require certain types of fencing on every lot that has a concrete footing on it, which basically traps all the runoff from the roofs that's generated and keeps that in the lot itself. And the streets in this will collect the rest, and will, of course, discharge it into the flood retention basin that's immediately adjacent to this development. And of course, the city has requirements. I'll just tell you real quick, whenever we'll figure up what the projected impact is for the drainage from this area, and then that impact, the developer must go and excavate that amount of impact from that particular basin, so we always keep a balance in the basin itself. And so the city is contracted with another engineering firm right now, is doing some work on that basin as well as the upstream basin, and this will all be compatible with what they come up with. I'll take a minute and talk about the impacts that we might expect from a subdivision of this size. Being all single-family residential, we anticipate that it'll generate 708 trips per day. There's 5 access routes that currently go in or out of this subdivision, but the critical one will be down at the southwest corner where we have Garden Terrace that will be intersecting Llano Estacado. I expect that that'll generate the most traffic. You probably only see substantial traffic 2 times a day, at 7:30 and then at 5. But we have contracted with a engineering firm that specializes in traffic impact studies, and they'll be preparing an impact study on that particular location to see if we need to do anything at that location for stacking or decel or acel lanes or whatever. So whatever those recommendations are, the developer will be implementing those. One particular note, you'll notice that there's no roadways planned across that drainage channel. So the single-family residential housing you see on the west side of the channel, the majority of that will exit at the location I just told you. The larger tracts up on the east will exit at 2 locations out onto Humphrey Road and then filter their way on down to Llano Estacado intersection. And there's not very many lots there. As you can tell, that impact will be minimal. Utility services. We have, the city of Clovis currently has and maintains a 18-inch trunk sewer line in the Llano Estacado right-of-way, which is, like I say, the southerly boundary of the subdivision. And they also have a sanitary sewer line that runs up the west line of this subdivision, and we have adequate capacity within those 2 lines to serve all of this area. And the large tracts on the right will actually have to extend a sewer line up Humphrey Road to provide service to those tracts. Water is, again, an interesting thing. Currently we have water service existing in the westerly line of this subdivision, but there's not sufficient major trunk line type water currently available on this stretch of Llano Estacado. It stops down there at Woodlark, which is just east of the apartments that are further down Llano. So this developer will have to extend that water line to this area and then extend it up through here so we can provide adequate fire protection and, of course, usage for all the domestic uses in the subdivision. But can be done. It's time to extend it, so I just wanted you to know that's kind of what the plan is on that. Due to these utility, first of all, power, telephone, they're currently adjacent to the site, not any problem. One interesting thing on the power, this particular subdivision, due to its size, lies partly within the XL Energy contract area and partly within the Farmers Electric service area. So if you were to draw a line north-south about halfway there, that'll pretty well tell you XL is going to serve those lots to the west. Farmers is going to maintain their contract, and they will be servicing those lots to the east. So we'll actually have both power groups in there. Drainage, we talked a little bit about that. This is a unique area in that it has large reservoirs, basins immediately adjacent to the subdivision, and we'll be using those to place stormwater generated from within this subdivision. There are no lots within the designated flood area. Let me take a minute to tell you what happened on that. When we first started developing in this area years ago, the FEMA study, which does all of the flood studies and the maps and everything for the city of Clovis, did not have a map for this particular area. And so as development started to take place, the city contracted with a CDM, large engineering firm, to do what they call a CLOMAR study of this particular area to where 100-year base flood elevations could be determined, so builders and insurance people would know, what those levels were, where houses need to be placed, what the insurance premium should be, so on and so forth. So that study was completed years ago. It was accepted by FEMA and has been what we've been using until this time. And of course, FEMA is scheduled to submit their new 10-year map. I guess it's probably about finished, isn't it, Justin?
The city of Clovis is actually in the process of working with Moles and Corbin and a company called Stantec to do our own LOMAR letter of map revision for the entire community. And so we're nearing the end of that process and we'll be ready to produce or submit to FEMA our proposed model for them to review and look at, which is significantly different than what we currently have. Just modeling techniques have modernized over time, and so in the way that they can look at runoff has definitely changed. So we're working on that currently.
Yeah, but I would anticipate long before we really get started in this very much, we'll have a new base flood map that will apply for this area. So I just wanted to wrap it up real quick, and if there's any questions that are on your minds, I'd be glad to try and answer.
Are there any questions from the commission?
The
Fantastic.
developer, I might say, is in the audience today, if there's any questions you would like to ask of him and his family.
Mr. Birch, correct? Do you have anything that you'd like to say?
Well, we've tried very hard over the several years, like Chad mentioned, to be harmoniously fitted to the area with the smaller lots, like where it borders Red Tree, and the larger lots where it borders more country kind of living with acreages. And as far as water, I do have an irrigation up there that I'm working with the water company to get into.
Good deal. Absolutely. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Birch? Perfect, thank you. So we will, I'll look for a motion to approve items A. Can we just do A and B together, Mr. Morris? So, if there's no other questions, we will, I'll look for a motion to approve items A and B on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Fantastic. So A and B have passed, and we will move down to item C, the approval of the zone change from RS7 Residential Single Family District to RS7C1 Residential Single Family Carport Overlay District. Said zone change to include lots 8 through 14, Block 10 of Bella Vista subdivision. Name of applicant is Viola Rodriguez at 1125 Hondo. Staff recommendations for this?
Yes, sir, thank you, Commissioner and Chairman. Staff recommendations are on page 27 of your book. Right now, it is in a residential single-family district. They're trying to get it to a residential single-family C1 district that allows for carports. No compelling evidence it'd be a threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. All adjoining property owners were notified with zero protest.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody here to discuss that? It doesn't look like it. Any questions from the commission on this item?
I have a question. I thought we weren't going to make any more changes on carport districts.
Not for the prefab carports.
Oh, okay,
You cannot have a prefab carport in your front yard anymore. You can do the,
okay, yeah.
like
I remember now.
type.
And that's what's planned?
Yes, that's what the C1 district is.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. On that, if there's no further questions, then I will look for a motion to approve item C. Anybody?
So moved.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Fantastic. Item C is approved. And it looks like that is it. And the next scheduled meeting is May 12th, 2021 at 3 p.m. And if there's nothing else, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.